Trapped in victimhood on the road to burnout. Have you ever been to a tourist trap? The kind of mini museum that promises oddities or a comprehensive look at medieval torture devices that you won't believe. You know, at some level, that this isn't going to be a life-changing experience. It's something that's amusing enough to kill an hour or so and separate you from a modest amount of money, but these are not the places you want to stay at. They're fine to visit occasionally, but you don't want to spend your whole life there. Victimhood, the very real and palpable sense that we're a victim, is similarly a fine place to visit when it's appropriate, but it's an awful place to take up a permanent residence. So what's wrong with being a victim? Well, there's nothing wrong with being a victim per se, if you really are one. When someone pulls the rug out from under you, it's appropriate to feel victimized. However, being a victim doesn't help you grow. Being a victim can teach you to become more vigilant in the future for similar kinds of situations where you might be taken advantage of, but by and large, being a victim doesn't motivate you to action. As humans, we learn from our mistakes, or at least we should, so considering and reviewing the situation that led us to being victimized can help us to prevent it from happening again. This is a natural, healthy, and normal response. The problem isn't that we take time to reflect. The problem is when we get stuck on a reflection, or rather, we transition to rumination. Well, what is rumination? If remembering and reflecting are good, then why can't rumination be okay? The problem is that rumination doesn't teach us anything or free us from burdens. Instead, it layers more and more onto the situation, making it harder for us to free ourselves. Have you ever seen a candle being made? The traditional tapered candles are made by repeatedly dipping a string into hot wax and lifting it enough to cool and harden. Each time the wick and eventually the candle is dipped, more wax sticks to it and it gets larger and larger, making even more wax stick to it the next time. The process of rumination is like this. The situation gets larger and larger until it's difficult to break free. The difference between reflection and rumination is that in reflection, you seek to prevent future hurts. In rumination, you're reliving the event. You play it in your mind like an endless loop. Breaking out of burnout. Burnout is feeling like you're ineffective. You can't feel effective if you're caught in an endless loop of victimization by ruminating over how and when you've been victimized. Escaping burnout is as simple and difficult as breaking the cycle of rumination. Instead of focusing on what happened, you can focus on what you're going to do to prevent it from happening again, or perhaps more importantly, preventing it from hurting you like it did. This isn't an invitation to close down emotionally or to never speak with anyone again. It's an invitation to explore how your choices to make yourself vulnerable need to be considered for their value and not just assumed you must always or never be vulnerable. Evaluate what you can do so that someone victimizing you again won't be so impactful. The truth is that we need to trust others, which means sometimes our trust will be betrayed. The key is understanding how to live with this reality. Understanding this can break the rumination loop and keep us out of burnout.